Good to hear it. All right, so don't wear that shirt again for at least 2 more podcasts, all right? You got that?
It's been a while, I feel like.
Sure it has, sure. I need to play that back again to hear that more closely. What was that there?
You were ripping on my red shirt.
Oh.
You go, you've been wearing that every
That's
pod.
right. You'll wear it next week. That's every other week.
I can't now.
Today
for a
you
while.
wore the brother shirt.
I did.
The same shirt, but just blue.
It is.
Made by the same company.
It is, yeah.
Right.
Express.
Yes,
which is,
Express, right.
I don't get paid for saying that.
Plus
but
your
it's
white V-neck underneath.
white
You like
V-neck.
to do that? Okay.
Well, so here's the picture. So Pete did some research because
Good,
you
Pete.
accused me of wearing that red burgundy collared shirt multiple times in the last couple of pods.
Yeah.
False.
False?
False. Pete says he had to go back 9 podcasts to get that exact shirt. But as if you're watching on YouTube, as you can see on the right here, I do have a similar color shirt, but it's the Henley variety.
Right.
That I wore a couple of times in the span of those pods.
Of those 9s too. So
it's been
we had
burgundy
that
a lot.
color
Yes.
3 out of 9, 4 out of 9 pods.
Correct.
Is what you're telling me?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, good. Okay.
Color has shown up a lot.
All right, good. My scouting eye is still there. Like I said, I don't always dive into the numbers, as you know. I just kind of go with what my eye said.
Pete's
also,
wondering what.
You were
ahead.
very tan in one of those pictures.
Yes.
And less grays in one of them.
It falls apart. It goes, I don't color my hair. I've not done that yet, but I do tan up quickly.
Yeah.
I think I had just gone to the beach or whatever.
Oh, right. You were up there in the
I had a couple of days.
area,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And then I came back and I lose that immediately. But there's one thing outside of the shirts that I'm glad that you've kind of taken a pause on, maybe a little pump the brakes. Mehmet 305 says, what happened to the sweaty armpit check, Sims? We haven't done that in a while. And I'm very thankful because I think there was one podcast where I was wearing kind of like my gray Henley.
Yeah.
It was a problem.
No.
But you let me go on that one. I think it was so bad that day. You're like, I'm gonna let them have.
We had more than a 1 podcast run of sweaty pits in that issue. I mean, during the pandemic, when we were doing all our FaceTime pods and everything like that, it was
every
like
time.
Every time. And just so our man wants to know about the armpit check, first off, if I saw Ahmed with sweaty pits, I would call out the check at the end because I would like to embarrass him. Same for myself. But pandemic kind of slowed down.
Yeah.
Wife finally bought me some antiperspirant deodorant.
So you've got some. Okay, good.
I've been going strong on it, yes. But, she doesn't like to get me the antiperspirant because there's chemicals in it, right?
Yeah.
So even though she buys me an all-natural deodorant, it's got antiperspirant in it, which is going to be a little chemical in there. She doesn't love that, but I got to do it.
See, I would tell my wife I don't care. I was like, if Chris is going to make fun of me with sweaty pits, if this kills me 5 years sooner, I'm okay with that.
You're okay.
It'll save me the embarrassment of Chris calling me out live on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years, 90 to 95, who cares about those years
the throwaway years anyway.
I could care less. You get me to 80, we can just call it quits that day.
There'll be another pandemic then anyway. All right, so we got a lot. We got a lot. As always, every Monday we got a lot.
Oh, we do.
Because we have a commitment to get through every single game, touch on every single game.
Yes.
And we will do that once again. We have 2 deep dives.
Yep.
Our first deep dive is going to be the Packers against the Saints. That's a good one.
Yes, it is.
Got a lot of damn okays, some players that popped for you.
Right.
We got another deep dive. Bills and Rams will go in deep on that one. That was a really good game.
A phenomenal game. A lot of fun to watch, really was.
That could be a Super Bowl preview.
I mean,
you look at those
I wouldn't
two
be
teams,
shocked.
Those are 2 of the best teams in football.
I would not be shocked.
So we'll go deep on that one. We got, we'll see some headlines of some other games, a victory lap for you. We'll scout thyself. See if maybe you were wrong on a couple players or
sure
teams.
I was.
And we'll get, at the end, time permitting, as always.
But there's always going to be time permitted.
Trevor Lawrence, top pick,
always
power rankings.
permitted. It's just like overtaking the internet.
That is true. It's just a matter of if Kristen's still in the control room or if she's left and gone home.
Oh, well, poor
You're right.
Kristen. I mean, she only has to do the show in the morning on PFT. She's here at like 3 in the morning for that. And now she's got to listen to 2 assholes like us break down every game. And she's probably looking at her watch going, can they f***ing hurry up? They've been talking about this one game for 20 minutes
I've heard Chris say this multiple times.
She just got later and said, accurate.
All right, so let's get to it then. Our first one, we got Packers and Saints, deep dive. This is a Packers win, Sunday Night Football, 37-30. Let's start with the Saints offense, Packers defense. There's good things on both sides of the ball here. But Drew Brees, you look at the numbers for Drew Brees.
Sure.
Even in a losing effort. 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. However, of those 288 yards, perhaps 280 of them were Alvin Kamara after the catch.
Well, it did seem that way. I mean, I think that's where you start the breakdown of the game, first off, right there. Just Kamara, what he did for the Saints and how special he was. And I think not only how special he was, because we saw that. And I think, first off, what I would just like to say a little with, Kamara, you've seen really the last 2 weeks a guy that's almost possessed with the ball in his hands, right? Kind of like trying to show everybody, like, I'm worth this contract. I'm the best running back in football. And my point here, just on the bigger point, is that when you get financial security, guys can let it go. They can let it go. He's not worried about anything anymore. He's not worried about protecting himself because his contract's up at the end of the year. So he's going, and you could see that right away.
You can make the argument, honestly, Chris, from watching that game, that no matter what he got, he is underpaid. Because, honestly, without him, what do they have?
No.
What do they have offensively?
No doubt.
Right now?
Well, I think that's where, like, first off, I was very underwhelmed by the Packers' plan to stop Alvin Kamara. I mean, the biggest story in football last week was Drew Brees can't throw the ball downfield. He's going to throw it short. And Packers had moments of, like, protecting downfield, like they were playing Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. And you want to go, what? And you're leaving, Will 25, Redmond, okay, one-on-one with Alvin Kamara, who, by the way, was severely outmatched in that matchup. And I just want to, it is Will Redmond. Severely outmatched in that matchup, and too many times was left in an area where it's just him and Alvin Kamara one-on-one, and I just want to go, wait, what are we doing, Mike Pettin and Green Bay defense? Come on, are you watching the same game I'm watching the last few weeks? They throw the ball underneath over the middle of the field. That's what they do. Pete, I know, or we have a spray chart, right? Rodgers and Brees.
How they attack the field differently.
Right, so look at these throws here. Now, listen, Rodgers has plenty of short throws too, as we see. But he's got 2 bombs for a completion where he threw the ball over 50 yards in the air, and then has another 5 throws that are over 20 and over 30-yard type throws, let alone another completion at like 21, 22 yards. So that scares the defense, threatens the defense.
Yep.
What, on the left, if you're watching anybody on YouTube, would scare
20.
you?
None over
Nothing
20
over
yards.
20. The majority of them are really 10 or less, and very compact to the middle of the field. So that was my first issue with the game.
So here's another number on that, too. This is per Pro Football Focus.
Right.
So Drew Brees came into the game with the average depth of target at 5.2. That's the lowest in the NFL. Last night, he was at 4.8.
Oof.
Rodgers was at 10.4.
Right.
6th most in the NFL this week. And so it's not only was it not very much for Drew Brees, it was less than it normally is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even Kamara's big touchdown run, the 52-yard pass, ball was thrown 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, it wasn't even a downfield throw. So it speaks to it. The issue is still there, the big picture here. The Saints, Drew Brees, he is lacking aggression in the pass game, and he's putting tremendous pressure on Sean Payton and Alvin Kamara to constantly come up with ways to throw the ball short, and then for the players themselves to catch the ball short and, hey, make something happen. That's all still stands true. And there was a few plays in the game, once again, that are concerning to me about Drew Brees and the Saints. There are plays where he drops back, and again, I know people think I'm a Drew Brees hater, and I'm not. I'm just trying to give it to you real here, all right? And this is a legend, I know that, so I don't feel good about saying some of these things.
You're just trying to be realistic with where he is currently.
Exactly. I really am. But there was, I would say, 4, 5, 6 plays in that range. I even wrote a few down where I went, he's not even giving downfield a chance. He has somebody there, but he's not even going to look, and he goes right to the short throw. And I want to, and again, I know some of these plays I know because they're my West Coast plays that I ran with John Gruden. I know the rules and what you're supposed to do according to the coverage and things like that. And I look at it and go, well, I mean, this is plain as day. He knows he should be working over here, but he's just dropped back, taken 2 or 3 steps, looked over there so he could tell the coach he looked, right, when they today have the meeting. I looked over there. I didn't like this, and this. Trust me, I've heard this from old quarterbacks before when I've been in rooms with them. They always have an excuse of why something didn't, because they're so smart. I've seen it all. I saw the safety's left toenail pointing this way, and and the coach, since he's experienced, will just be like, all right, yeah, I see what you're saying. All right, yeah. So that goes on. But, yeah, there was a few plays throughout the game where I just went, man, he's not even giving it a chance. It's right to the check down, and it's making life hard on them, certainly. The Green Bay Packers defense is also concerning, though. Okay? And I think my big picture with this whole game is the better team on the field was still the New Orleans Saints. They were. The Saints blew this with being undisciplined, penalties, and the Brees-Rodgers factor. Rodgers was the best player on the field. Brees is somewhat limiting them as a team right now.
Well, and you know they're going to try to bring in Taysom Hill. Perhaps they'll try to bring in Jameis Winston. They did bring in Taysom Hill in this game. He had one scramble that was good for them early in the game, but then he fumbled late in the game, and so
huge moment of the football game.
That's a huge moment. Yeah, it turned it around.
Right.
It led to the field goal that gave the Packers the lead that they held on to for the rest of the game.
No doubt. All right, so we'll dive into that because, again, I think the run game is something that the Saints probably need to start relying on even more. Like, open up the safe. Start just going crazy. Run the ball. Because you're not going to get the big explosive plays from Drew Brees in the passing game. It doesn't look like it's going to happen that way. You keep running the ball and doing different things that way, it might open up some chances to do that to where you can just lay it out on a platter for him and go, look, they're up at the line of scrimmage. Here he is. He's wide open. Throw it to him. Things like that. There was a part in the game where I thought, man, what happened? Or, as I'm watching early on, I'm going, why did Sean Payton get away from the run game? Because they were kind of gashing them early on.
Yeah.
And there was a point where it was 13-7. Okay, the Saints are driving down the field, and they're running it 5-6 yards at a clip. They're moving the Packers out of the way. And I'm very concerned about the Packers' defense in general. They have issues. But just moving it at a clip. Then they get a first down, and Sean Payton, loses his patience. And they throw the ball 3 times, and they have to settle for a field goal. So now it's 13-10. Okay, all good. But as the game went on, now I'm watching, I'm going, let me see if they'll stick with the run. Well, Green Bay in the second half changed it up a little bit. They did have some more, Chris Collinsworth brought it up, run blitzes. Blitzes just to say, we're just going to try to create havoc in the backfield because we can't physically stand up to you guys straight on, right? And that's a real issue for Green Bay. But I think all in all, you said it. That play with Taysom Hill is the changing point of the football game. There's no doubt about it. And for those who want to really know what happened there, first off, Zadarius Smith made a great play, obviously, right? But it's even greater than you realize. It really is because he's running, and I'm not sure if this is a true read option with Taysom Hill, right? Game's 27-27, balls at the middle of the field. And I don't know if it's a true read option or if it's a called, we're going to make it look like it's a read option, but you're really going to keep it. We want you to keep it here, right? And that's what I want to think it is. But regardless, Zadarius Smith played it in a way I'm sure Taysom Hill probably hadn't seen anybody play it that way in the last 2 years. And what I say is his rule most of the time, right, Taysom Hill, get the ball, put the ball out for the running back to take. And as he's holding it there and about to put it in the running back's gut, he's reading Zadarius Smith to go, okay, if Zadarius Smith crashes down the line of scrimmage to stop the running back on the run play, I'm going to keep it and go around the edge. If he attacks me, then I give the ball, and we run it right up in there. Zadarius Smith kind of gave it in between. He kind of, to Pete's language, Pete Demolitolitis, slow played it, which is what teams started to do early on in the read option process.
Which doesn't always work because sometimes you're playing nobody.
Exactly. Sometimes you end up doing nothing. Right. He did a great job, and this is why I think it was a called run because for Taysom Hill and not giving it. But he kind of comes upfield, doesn't come up really fast, but then kind of just runs right at the quarterback and running back at their mesh point. And so I think Taysom Hill's a little bit wait, where am I going to go here? Do I go inside of this guy or up around him as I keep the ball? And then as he's starting to adjust, he slips, and Zadarius Smith hits his hand on the ball, and that's that. Now, let me just say this. If he gives the ball to Latavius Murray or he gets around the corner on Zadarius Smith, he's probably going to score. There's nobody. We could watch the play together right now if you wanted to, and we want to waste time on the podcast to do one of those, but it is perfectly blocked. They got them screwed. They're in the perfect defense. It's a gash session. So there was a player making a big play in a big moment. But ultimately, I think what I want to get to is,
that's interesting because that's the ultimate turning point of the game.
It's the ultimate turning point of the game. Right there.
Could have been a touchdown.
At that point right there, you're going I think the Saints are going to win the game, right?
Yeah.
Before that play, you're going, it just looks like they're going to kind of just slowly wear down the Packers here. And, yes, the game was basically over after that because the Packers go down and get a field goal, then they get a 3-and-out, get the touchdown, and that's all there was to be said. But, all in all, still the same issues with the New Orleans Saints. And I don't know what Sean Payton's going to do to kind of nudge Drew Brees just a little bit to go, hey, be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that saves them, there's a few times where I go, I wish he was more aggressive, but they go down and score a touchdown anyways, right? But that's not sustainable or realistic in the NFL as you continue to go on. You can't pass up open players and think, we'll get somebody open the next play. That'll come back to bite you in the ass. That's when you lose a game to Minnesota in the playoffs 2 out of 3 years, or the Rams, those type of plays. But last thing, just on the Packers defense.
Okay.
The one thing I realized about the Packers defense, first off, is same issues as last year. They have no chance of stopping the run game. They're just not good enough interior defensive line, especially without a Kenny Clark. And the way they're formulated, really, they are meant to be playing with a lead. With those pass rushers, they have a lot of good secondary cover guys. And when they can get you into that, we're up by 7, we're up by 10, we know you're going to throw the ball. Now Mike Pettin can do some crazy coverages in the back end, and they can just rush the passer, they're dangerous. But when a team stays close and they can play balanced football on them, man, they have issues. They really do. And that really does concern me as we go forward with the Packers.
All right, so we saw Brees in this one throw 36 times. We saw Hill come in, take a couple snaps.
Yep.
Love Always Wins asks you, is it ludicrous to suggest that Jameis will play this season? What's the scenario where Jameis Winston comes in, if only for a play?
Right.
What's that scenario?
I don't think that scenario is happening.
Injury is the only way.
Injury is the only way that's happening.
Really?
Yeah. I can't imagine Drew Brees playing bad enough to where it's like, now Sean Payton literally has to make a decision. Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
Even like they do with Taysom Hill, where you bring him in for a play, or you would just use Taysom Hill in those situations.
I think so. Yes, I would. And then I still think the Saints can be a player in this thing. All right, the Saints, lack explosive plays on offense, as we've talked about. They still are able to execute and go on drives and do things like that. And, the other thing is their defense, which I know we're going to talk about here in a second, but I might as well just get into it a little here.
Let's flip it.
Yeah.
Let's go to their defense.
So my first big thing with the Saints, just after watching the whole game, I came away just writing, I think the Saints got to change their approach and how they play football. First off, the defense is too aggressive. They're letting up too many big plays. We've seen it all 3 weeks. They've let up big plays. I honestly think they're doing too much on defense. They have mistakes every week. We'll get into some specific mistakes that we saw last night that led to big plays for the Packers. But this is my biggest reason. I really think the Saints should go back to the drawing board and play like the Patriots did 3 years ago. Okay, we're bend but don't break defense. We're going to just keep bending, and you'll kick a field goal, and we'll execute, and we'll go down and score a touchdown. And it's like the old Patriots games where you're sitting there and you're going, the Patriots don't seem like they're dominating this game, but it's 14-6, and now it's 21-9, and then it's 28-12, and you're like, they didn't really dominate, but they're about to blow this team out.
It's like they're not flashy. They're not making huge plays.
No, and I think the Saints have that ability to play that way. And I think the defense is really the part that's hurting them in this category right now, too. They're just a little too over-aggressive and trying to kill people all the time. Like I said, I came away from this game going, the Saints were the better football team. They're the better team. But when you make mistakes, turn the ball over, have 70-plus more yards and penalties, and then have mental mistakes on the defensive side of the ball that let Aaron Rodgers throw huge big-time plays with no Devontae Adams, you're going to lose the game. I don't give a shit where you are, in New Orleans, in Mars, wherever that is.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts there. So
there were some.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask me some
obviously,
questions.
Rodgers airing it out deep to Lazard. That was cool. And I feel like the number 2 receiver for the Packers is starting to get like your second best defensive player in football, where you remember you go Aaron Donald's the best, and then you have like 8 or 9 second best defensive players in football.
Right.
Like, who really is the second best receiver?
I know. They're confusing me.
Yeah, Valdez Scantling last week, and now it's a Lazard this week.
Yeah.
And, some of it, maybe the Packers front office is looking at this and telling Aaron Rodgers, like, we told you didn't need another receiver. You have him right here on the roster.
Right.
Is this more Aaron Rodgers making them look like legit number 2 receivers in the NFL, or is there some talent there?
Well, it's Rodgers and LaFleur and the way they're calling the game and, of course, the skill of Rodgers. Now, listen, I'm sitting there watching the game still going last night. Man, it'd be nice if they had one more receiver out here without Devontae Adams tonight.
Yeah.
Or one more defensive tackle so Alvin Kamara doesn't run around the field like a crazy man on us. Or Or, again, the 4th and 1 at the end of the game, the Packers. I mean, didn't we draft a second-round 250-pound tailback?
Yeah.
But we gave it to the 185-pound? I don't know. So what was the point of the last draft? I'm still trying to figure that out. Okay. Yeah. But you're right. More of the stuff goes on to Rodgers. So, I mean, here's the thing that I took away from the game. First of all, the line of scrimmage was dominated by the Saints. I know it's going to look like Aaron Jones. You're going to go 16 runs, 69 yards. That's not a bad day. One of them was late in the game, 19-yard run, like in the fourth quarter, that last touchdown drive, where that was really well blocked and that was a good play. That was the only well-blocked run the whole night. He had another run, I know, for 12 yards earlier in the game. There was nobody blocked. He just ran up in there, and he got lucky to bounce out and beat people with speed down the left sideline for a 12-yard game. So they were totally dominated up front from that standpoint. Even in the pass rush, it wasn't going to be easy that way. But the big thing is, because Rodgers' one right now is staying on the number one target like we talked about, he has confidence in LaFleur's system, and because they're calling aggressive plays, and they continue to be aggressive, they just finally caught the Saints in a few plays where, we got you in the right coverage, or you've called, 10 plays in a row, and you've called 10 different defenses, and you messed one up now. And that's what happens when you call 10 different defenses on 10 different plays. And I think that's my biggest issue with the Packers. Listen, we have the Saints who play a style of football that is all predicated on Sean Payton getting people open so Drew Brees can execute the offense. In Green Bay, the offense is what it is because of Aaron Rodgers and his skill set, and then they fit it all around him. And that's where they put the pressure on you. And really, I think that's the thing that bothers me. So when you talk about the beautiful bootleg pass, right? Left, he drops it to Lazard, right? Lazard falls down and gets down to like the 3 or 4 yard line, right? Marshawn Lattimore, they're playing quarters coverage, all right? Well, he's peeking in the backfield, first off, and goes for the run fake. And by the time he realizes, Alan Lazard's running downfield, it's too late. He's been beat by a yard or two. And then Rodgers throws the perfect throw. Now,
is that asking him to do too much?
Well, I just seen these from every week so far this week so far with the Saints, where I go, this is a basic defense, and they just messed up an easy rule.
Sure.
The other deep post to Alan Lazard, right? The long one where he gets caught at the 3 or 4 yard line going in. They have to score on the 4th and 1 to score the touchdown, right? They're playing quarters coverage again. This time it's Janoris Jenkins' fault. So now it's quarters coverage. This is basically the play, just in case you want to see it here, okay? But this is it. So it's a curl on the front side, a curl on the back side, and the middle guy runs basically a post. When they're playing quarters coverage like that, all right, the backside corner, Janoris Jenkins, he had no business coming inside with the backside receiver. There's a safety there for that. Now you have to get back to your deep fourth, your deep quarter. He's too late to realize it. So there's P.J. Williams. Everybody's going, what an asshole he is. He can't cover Alvin Lazard. He's expecting help over there. So then there's that. Then back to Marshall. I'm going to all the big pass plays. Last touchdown drive. Rodgers throws a hole shot to Tanyan down the left side. Same thing. Now it's another defense. It's a blitz zone, and Lattimore doesn't know exactly what his rule is. And I just seen that too much throughout. And that's where I go back to Saints, play a little more basic. You have a really good front four that can stop the run almost by itself. And if you bend, my money would still be, as much as I'm concerned about Drew Brees, that they're still going to be able to move the ball on offense, and he's still going to be able to put up numbers, and they'll get points.
Yeah, they can score 20 points even without throwing deep if
exactly.
you got Kamara in there.
Exactly.
It's kind of the flip side of what you've said to other teams, though, early on in the season.
It is.
Because you've said, there's some defenses that are way too basic early on this year.
Right.
So it just shows how fine a line you have here. And maybe it's considering what you have offensively.
That's what, offensively and defensively, right. You got to consider what you got. And this is, I think, just my evaluation of the team. And listen, again, I'm not saying I'm right. Maybe they'll prove me wrong here and continue to play the way they play. But I know that I've said these things about other teams, and it's come out to be true. All right. And I just look at it this way from a guy who's like me, who's watched football all my life. And I just go, all right, it's cool you're doing all these defenses. It's aggressive. I like that. But it's not cool when you're giving up game-losing plays every week.
Yeah.
That's when it loses its coolness.
Yeah.
And, I think they do have Yeah, the right pieces, veteran guys who are very smart. And if you kept it a little simpler for them, I think they're the type of group that could be like, okay, wait, I don't have to think about my defense. And I know what this offense is trying to do here. Malcolm Jenkins, I'm smart. Demario Davis, I'm smart. Lattimore and Janoris Jenkins, I've seen a lot of route combinations in my time. Make me not think so much. Maybe I can think about what they're doing more and stop them that way. That's just my 2 cents on that.
And even with all that, the fact that they're giving up big plays to Aaron Rodgers, they had a chance to win this game.
No doubt.
And I think there's a theme in a lot of these games where there have been these crucial pass interference, non-pass interference calls.
Sure.
And this is the case every year. But it just seems like in the first 3 weeks of the season so far, we've had a lot of them, and there are a couple in this game. Mercedes Lewis on the touchdown, he pushed off. That was not called.
But wait. This is what I'm sick about with this conversation.
Okay.
It was pass interference.
Right.
It was defensive holding first. I mean, we can watch the film. When Mercedes Lewis comes up the field and decides, okay, I'm not open on the out route, right? He wheels up.
He gets held.
He's got 2 hands. He's riding him like he's a horsey. And then as Mercedes Lewis turns around, Jenkins is holding his right arm.
Yeah.
Now the ball's going to be delivered, and you have an arm being held. Yes, he pushed off and said, "Yeah, get off."
Well, you know what I would say to that?
Right.
2 wrongs don't make a right.
No, they don't.
So.
But this is I see this a lot in conversations with these PI things lately, where it's, wait, that was pass interference, and I go, yeah, I get it, but there was pass interference before that, and you're just looking at the final cut. So I don't know if they're going to let that one go, then let that one go and just let them play ball. That's where I don't have as big an issue with it maybe as I would some other ones.
Sure. Any more notes that you got on that one?
I think
my couple of next-gen notes were on how great Alvin Kamara was. That was on the other side of the ball there.
Yeah.
They got the the most remarkable rushes where it's like you get more yards than were expected. He had a 49-yarder that was expected to just go for 5 yards. Like, he was amazing.
He was amazing. With that 49-yarder, the one early in the game?
I think so. I don't know which one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other one I'm missing. Well, no, the 49-yarder, was the one early in the game where Jair Alexander had to run across the field to get him. But, yes, he's unbelievable. And that, too, again, Sean Payton, great run game design. That's where I kind of started to go, maybe they need to open up the safe on all the run plays. Even Taysom Hill, just start using him more, and maybe that'll take pressure off of Drew Brees in the pass game a little bit. But like you said, the game was there to be had. They made mistakes. 2 good football teams. When you lose the turnover battle, you blow assignments, and then you lose the penalty battle as well, and some big penalties like you mentioned. It's hard to win a football game. And the last thing I'll say is the bootleg game for the Packers offense. I mean, that really won the football game for them. And that would go into another area of why I'd go, Saints, calm it down. How many times are you going to let him come out the backside and hit a tight end running, for 10 or 15 yards, right? And that, to me, played into, see, it's just too much. No, it's a basic play that they ran the same freaking play 5 times, and the Saints never covered it. But I think that goes back into we're trying to think about what we're supposed to do here, and we forgot we've seen this formation 4 times already and the same play, and we still didn't recognize it because we're thinking about our own play.
So much talent on that side of the ball for the Saints.
Yeah.
They got to trust it. They got to just trust it more and simplify it. Okay.
I think so.
They don't need to do
We'll see.
Too much.
We'll see. You're right. It's the opposite of Seattle or Kansas City we've talked about in the past and those type of things. But I think this would fit their team best. 2
good teams. Chances are we could see them again. Play once again down the line.
Wouldn't be shocked. Yep.
So we'll get to our other deep dive. That's Bills and Rams in just a second. But first, let's fire up the damn okay.
Damn. Okay. Let's do it.
Damn. I'm okay. Damn. I'm okay.
Yeah, no, yes.
I'm okay. Illegal gambling.
Oh, baby. I am Chris Sims.
I'm okay. Damn. Okay.
And our first damn okay.
First off.
What?
You're not allowed to dance to that song anymore until you see the 8 Mile, okay?
That's true.
I mean, you came from Detroit. Did you live on the 8 Mile? Did you live next to M&M?
I was more in Grand Rapids. I was more west side of the state, which is really kind of 2 different states.
Yeah. Is it? I didn't know that.
Not that there's anything wrong with Detroit. Well, you got 3 different states in Michigan. You got Detroit, Southeastern, Bloomfield Hills.
Right.
It's kind of different than the west side of the state, Grand Rapids area.
Right.
And everything's different than the Upper Peninsula.
Right.
Upper Peninsula is like Canada.
The Upper Peninsula.
Upper Peninsula.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Packer fans actually up there in the Upper Peninsula.
Are they?
They don't even identify
the
with
hell
the
with
Lions.
The Vikings or the Lions?
Lions, yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Most of the state is kind of starting to think that way, but yeah, it's a crazy state.
Right.
But we're going to start with Russell Wilson.
Bam.
Seahawks defeat the Cowboys 38-31. Russell's got 14 touchdown passes this season. NFL record for a player through their first 3 games. Mahomes, he had the previous record in 2018. He had 13. And what did he end up that year with? 50?
50.
50.
Yeah, he threw for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards on the same play with no feet on the ground and a bomb against the Raiders, I believe it was that year.
So damn okay goes to Russell Wilson, although I will point out that I was watching you on Football Night in America.
Yes.
And you go, whatever happened to Seattle's run game and defense? And I was like, oh my gosh, this coming from the guy that's like, let Russ cook.
You didn't, you sure? I didn't say that.
I thought you said
I said
that.
It's concerning.
It's
I did
concerning.
say their defense is concerning with the way teams are moving the ball down
maybe
the
a little
field.
more run game for them too, because they ran 14 times with Chris Carson, 64 yards.
I don't give a shit about the run game.
Okay.
So that wasn't me that said
Go
that.
check the tape. You might have to go back and check
I'm going to have to check it out. I'm going to check it out now that
Okay.
you said it. But I do, I mean, yeah, I'm concerned about their defense. Of course I am a little bit. I mean, it's a lot of big plays we've seen in 3 weeks. This deserves like more than a damn okay. What's the next level up? Is this a sponsored segment?
No.
Because this should be like, holy shit, okay. Like, I don't even know what you say anymore. The guy is insane.
Yeah.
And I have no...
I mean, some of these, like, I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah.
He is insane.
Yes.
Some of these receivers are wide open. Even on that one deep to DK Metcalf where he fumbled it out of bounds.
Right.
It was like, it's amazing. Like, he is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, he had the longest throw through the air this week. It was like 64 yards on one of those
that
touchdowns.
play, I think.
I think it might have been that play.
Yeah. I mean, he launched that ball.
He's amazing, but boy, that Cowboys defense made him look amazinger.
Yeah, it did. You're right. I mean, the Cowboys defense is certainly nothing to write home about either.
Yeah.
You're right about that. And yes, some of those guys are wide open and everything, but when you're calling every freaking route downfield and he's constantly hitting it and everything, like some guys, they're going to be open because you're a DB and you're like, oh no, my defensive coordinator called this play. Wait, I'm 20 yards downfield and he could go to the post or the corner, and he's a freak. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, you can't stop that.
So
sometimes.
take this 3-game stretch.
Yeah.
Is this as good of a 3-game stretch as you've seen? I mean, we just talked about Mahomes in 2018. This is a 3-game stretch.
It's as good as a big game stretch as I've ever seen, is like, especially with big-time power throws.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even if we went back to Peyton Manning and Mahomes, that, you know, Manning at that point was surgical, right? It was right audible, and I'm going to get in the right play, and you just won't stop me. Mahomes was like a little of like, yeah, street ball, great deep balls, but also some like Andy Reid magic too, where like, oh, there's Tyreek Hill for a 4-yard throw, and he zooms up the sideline. Or it was like some of those speed sweeps where like, here you go, you take it. And some of that, like, this is like every touchdown pass is like, holy shit, what a throw. Or, man, like, no easy, no gimme throws, right? So I think that's where I think it's a little different than the other guys.
Yeah.
I guess the big thing here with them in general, first off, is, yeah, the defense is concerning, but I still think you're looking at a team that you just go, they're winning. And I think it's because of the aggressive way in which they're playing. And I think it suits their team really well. You know, again, okay, the defense let up a lot of big plays. Defense caused a few plays too, though. So that's what I like about them. They put the pressure on you. They caused 2 turnovers. Or is it 3 turnovers? How many was it? 3 turnovers. So you got, you know, really 2. 1 interception, the sack strip fumble at the start of the second half, and I know the interception at the end of the game that put it away, but that was a desperation type throw. But regardless, yeah, I have no issues with playing that style, especially when you know you're going to continue to attack on the offensive side of the ball. And I just feel like these are games a few years ago, maybe even last year, the year before, just like the Packers playoff game last year, where you would have saw Seattle lose these games because they would have, oh, we're going to feel our way out for the first 2.5 quarters, and we're going to try to manage the game so our defense doesn't get killed.
Yeah, there's nothing reserved about the way they're calling the game early on.
Exactly right. They're going after it.
It was kind of the flip side. The Cowboys were the ones making those mistakes. And Dak had a good game. What did he throw for over 400 yards again? I mean, they're throwing a ton.
Yep.
There are some crucial mistakes there, and there could have been even more because with 9 minutes left in the game, he threw that one that bounced off the chest of that DB.
Yes.
21 for Seattle and right up to Michael
Right up
Gallup.
to the reception.
Yeah.
Yeah, off his feet, off his chest, off his foot, into Gallup's hand for a first down.
I mean, game could have been over right there.
It would have been over right there.
Ended up getting a field goal, and they took the lead after that drive.
Right.
So Dallas made some mistakes, but they've got incredible weapons there.
Incredible weapons.
Even more than we thought.
Well, that's where the big discussion is with Dallas that I hear right now. And I know like Rodney Harrison brought this up. Like, why didn't Dallas run the ball more? Don't let Russell Wilson and this offense go. But Dallas views themselves the same way. They're going, wait, we got 4 big-time receivers. This is the strength of our team. Well, we don't want them run blocking. And the big thing is with Dallas is we got to continue to monitor. The offensive line in Dallas is not special anymore. They're not. It's just a good O-line. They're missing both starting tackles. And then the other thing, too, to where this is where Seattle's interesting. Seattle calls your bluff on the run game. They just go, you want to run it? Fine. We got 9 guys down here. We don't even care. Go ahead. Go run it. I mean, they're literally like begging you, like, look, pass it. Pass the ball. Look, there's nobody back here. Throw it.
Yeah.
And that's where it's a tough bind for the Dallas Cowboys. So I've heard people question that approach, and I don't think Dallas can play that style of football right now. Dallas's defense is not special. So that's the other thing you got to take into account, too. I think you're going to see them win a number of shootouts through the year. The pass rush, all they got is Aldon Smith. D tackles, they're a little light there. They're banged up at linebacker. Secondary, nobody's special there. Chidobe Awuzie is a good football player. There's no doubt about that. Diggs is learning on the fly. But, yeah, I just don't think this is the type of team that's going to be able to play like ground and pound. We'll take a shot every now and then and win with like a complete football win. I don't think the Cowboys are that type of team right now.
The fastest ball carrier of the week was in this game, and he plays for the Cowboys.
Was it the Cedric Wilson?
Not Cedric Wilson. It's actually my favorite receiver on the team.
Really?
Yes.
And who would that be? Was it Gallup? I mean,
it was Gallup.
It was Gallup.
52-yard reception.
And how fast is he going?
21, I think.
Yeah.
He was the fastest. Nick Chubb was the second fastest this week. I like Gallup a lot. He gets kind of the third fiddle because you got all the hype with CeeDee Lamb and all the hype, of course, with Amari Cooper. Gallup just seems like a reliable receiver, but clearly has as much speed as anyone.
He does. Like, Gallup's going to be one of those guys where I need to look at his contract or where he's at there, where I feel like somebody's going to sign him after the year, and we're going to go, oh, that was a good sign.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's going to blow up like next year on some other team where he's more of the focal point of the offense, like you said. They're unreal. I mean, the fact that Cedric Wilson pops up out of nowhere, I mean, it just shows you. The fact that Cedric Wilson's that good is making me like second guess. Like maybe you shouldn't have drafted CeeDee Lamb. Maybe we should have got a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you didn't self-scout your own team well enough to know that you got talent there. I know that's easier.
You can always trade him. You can always make a trade here. Who knows what's going to happen?
But yeah, we'll see with this Cowboys football team.
Pete notes that Gallup has one more year after this year.
One more year after this year?
And then he's a free man, perhaps, unless they lock him up. Who knows? They just want to keep collecting receivers over there. Or perhaps he goes to a team that...
Maybe they trade one of these receivers during the trade deadline.
To the Chicago Bears, who now have a quarterback in Nick Foles.
Who's a quarterback?
Who is our second Damn OK of the week. Breaking news. While we're taping here, Pete notes this and throws us in the
wait.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Wait.
Yeah.
Nick Foles is the starting quarterback?
He has been named the starter.
No.
Would not have ever guessed that, right?
Couldn't have guessed that one. Are you kidding me?
You know what? Maybe my theory was right at the beginning of the year. Remember when I said that the reason they named Mitchell Trubisky the starter was a favor for Nick Foles to kind of take the pressure off him early in the year?
You might be right.
And they were able to win a couple games even with Mitch. Like, it worked out perfectly for them here, and they come back and they beat the Falcons, which every team by the end of the year will have a win where they come back and beat the Falcons. Even the teams that don't play them will have a comeback win against Atlanta. What'd you think of Nick Foles? Because it could have been even better. He had a couple throws, one in the end zone where it was a pick or was it a touchdown?
They called it a catch. There wasn't enough evidence to overrule that.
Although I will tell you, I do kind of like it. Give the defense something here. There were a couple borderlines that went the defense's way, and I didn't totally hate that.
Yeah,
like every rule has gone against the defense. Maybe those jump balls should go.
That one was very close.
That one was.
I was actually shocked they called it a touchdown originally. Right?
I agree.
I mean, it's one of those where, okay, you called it a touchdown. I think he might have intercepted it, but there's not enough evidence to overturn it.
Yeah.
If they had called it an interception on the field, I would have gone, that's no problem with that.
I agree.
They can't overturn that and call it a touchdown pass. So I was shocked by that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Well, you saw enough, right, of the game? I mean, they're a different team with him in there. It's just they look better. He looks better. He's more consistent of a thrower. He's got a better pocket presence, standing around with people and chaos around him and things like that. You know, and I'm a guy was always trying to look at the glass half full with Mitchell Trubisky. You know, we saw a little growth in week 1, and even last week wasn't bad, made a few plays and things like that. But, listen, I think you're right a little by what you said. You know, I took the thing of when they named Trubisky the starter, I was surprised. And just my experience in football world, I felt like told me, if they did that with this situation, he must have clearly won it. But week 3, 2 weeks after a 17-point comeback, those things, when I read between the tea leaves, I think you're probably right with what you said, that it was probably really, really close. And they went, we'll give it to Trubisky, let Foles still get used to being here, part of the team. But in the back of our mind, we really liked Foles, and we like where he's going. He might not have been right where they want him to, right, for week 1, right, within the offense and being comfortable. So they said, let's go with Trubisky. But, I mean, I was shocked they pulled the cord on Trubisky yesterday. I didn't think it was going to happen yesterday, especially 2 weeks after he just brought you back. But much better offense. And Foles, just an easier, more consistent, better thrower. I don't know any other way to say it.
Here's the funny thing about Mitchell. You got to give him credit for going out in a blaze of glory here. He threw the ball 12 yards down the field on average per pass, most in the NFL.
Wow.
So he was going for it.
He was.
He was trying to stretch the field a little bit, just wasn't working out. David Willow, 630. How much longer does Dan Quinn have left? Yes, I'm a pissed off Falcons fan.
Yeah. Well, he's on his last gasp of air here. This is, if they don't go on some run here soon, they're in deep trouble. But I think we're continuing to see the same issues with the Falcons. There's no toughness to their football team. When they get a lead, they can't sustain drives. They can't run the ball to take time off the clock. You know, their defense gets a little bit in like, we're winning prevent mode, and they're just not a talented defense. You know, they were very fortunate to be up in this game anyways. You know, there were some bad calls in this game. There was a strip sack fumble on Matt Ryan. I'm just telling you, they got run over so bad, the referee was like, something had to be illegal there, and he threw it. He was just like, that was too tough of a tackle. Yeah. I mean, really, that's what happened a few times during the game. But I do think this Bears team is interesting, but nonetheless, the Falcons, between not enough talent on defense, we've talked about for 2 years, not enough depth on their roster. Mm-hmm. You know, you see, Julio Jones is out. All of a sudden, the offense ain't that scary. It's just Calvin Ridley and Matt Ryan. That's all all that scares you, let alone the system's not special either. They have a basic NFL offensive system that fools us all to think it's a little bit better because they have a quarterback who really knows how to play the game, and they have some weapons that put up numbers every week. But the system itself is not scary when you don't have a run game, and then you have a defense that's predictable without a pass rush and cover guys. Yeah, he's in trouble.
You don't have a basic offensive system in San Francisco right now. Your boy Kyle Shanahan in the 40ers, as I like to call him right now, because they got so many guys out. They got 9 guys out, or maybe 11.
Right, I think it was 11. Maybe it was 11 starters the other day.
38ers.
38ers.
They had 36 against the Giants, 36-9. They get the victory. We're giving the damn okay to Nick Mullens, 25 of 36, 343 yards, and a touchdown. MXB Ralph 09. What's your take on Nick Mullens, and how confident are you in your boy Kyle to do this season with all the injuries so far? Thanks, and love the show, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I'm very confident in my buddy Kyle Shanahan, first off. I mean, Kyle, to me, he's next level football coach, as anybody that's listened would probably be able to tell. But, you know, this is where he's such a special coach. It's almost, to me, it's like Belichick, where it's just like, oh, wait, half the team's hurt. They'll find a way to be competitive and maybe win this game still.
Yeah.
I mean, because he just gives you so many great schematical advantages, let alone they were playing a team that they were, more talented than to begin with, offensively challenged to begin with. And I know there's no Nick Bosa and Richard Sherman, but this still got a lot of good defensive players on this 49ers.
Shows the depth of this team.
It does.
Right?
They built something really well there with Lynch and Shanahan, certainly. With Mullens, Mullens is one of the better backups in all of football. He really is. I mean, decent little athlete, got a good arm. It's not great, but it's good. Mm-hmm. It's probably every bit as good as Jimmy Garoppolo's. Got a pretty quick release. Now, you can't maybe throw the ball from different platforms and have the anticipation Garoppolo has and things like that. But, yes, I was impressed. And, early on it wasn't easy. It wasn't. I mean, they struggled a little. But, get a touchdown, get the turnover on the interception. Fred Warner gets that on a bad throw from Daniel Jones to Evan Ingram. And that kind of opened up the floodgates. And then you start to see the Shanahan genius to where, okay, wait, I got a little cushion. Let me start throwing my, f you plays at you, okay, right? Where he just going, I want to call this, but the game's still in the balance, and I don't want to lose 10 yards, or I don't want us to, mess up the exchange and fumble, and now you have the ball.
Well, he turned Brandon Ayuk into Deebo Samuel.
Right,
basically.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So Ayuk there now getting reverses, catching passes, things like that. Jerick McKinnon looked good once again. But, yeah, I mean, the 49ers, way to go. And now they get to play the Eagles on Monday night or Sunday night. And we'll see where that goes.
Smarty Pants 49. Should Jimmy G sit out another week if he's not 100%? Mullens look good, but the Eagles are going to be tougher.
Yeah, the Eagles are definitely going to be tougher. The Eagles do have a pass rush, certainly. I would, if he is not close to 100, like if he's 90 or below, don't play him. Don't.
Is a 90% Jimmy G about the same as a 100% Nick Mullens?
Yeah, I'm going to say so for right now. I am, yes. But if it's like, oh, man, he's still really struggling, moving around, and it's really only 75, 80% kind of thing, yeah, let him sit out again. And I still think they could win this game without Jimmy Garoppolo. I certainly do.
We got another damn okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned the 49ers are kind of like the Patriots, a depth of roster, no injury excuses there.
No.
The Patriots have a deep roster. They always have a deep roster of running backs, it seems like, and you never know which one's going to show up big.
Right.
This week it was Rex Burkhead, who we give a damn okay, and that is courtesy of Mr. Griffin B., who nominated Rex Burkhead, and we go, we see your nomination, and we will grant it. We'll give him the damn okay.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he did. He'll show up once or twice a year with a huge game, but he's always there. He's always can be a difference maker.
He can. Well, because you just don't know where he's going to take place in. They're going to run the ball with him today. They're going to throw a few passes to him and screw you over that way. I mean, you talk about running back by committee. That was next level running back by committee yesterday.
Yeah. 11 carries for Taylor.
Right.
6 for Burkhead. Sony Michel had 9, and he racked up 117 yards in those 9 carries.
Yes.
Burkhead also, though, out of the backfield, 7 catches for 49 yards.
Yeah, he was all over the place yesterday. But they're just showing, again, the growth of that offense and what do you defend. I think you're just continuing to add on to this, to thinking of, man, what players do we stop? I don't even know who the guys are we stop right now. If you're playing the Patriots, they run block well. And then, of course, we know the Cam Newton effect and everything there. But, Newton didn't play his best football. But the Patriots do what the Patriots always do. They evaluate the other team and they go, they're f***ed up in this area. They're not as good. And we talked about last week, the Raiders front 7. It's just, there's nothing to write home about. There's nothing. There's not one thing for me to sit there and go, but the Raiders have this. No. And they attacked that and just kept attacking that. And then, of course, caused some turnovers to the defensive side of the ball and everything like that. But, yeah, Burkhead, he's phenomenal for them because he is a mismatch and it allows them to put 2 running backs on the field. And then you don't know what to expect. Is he going to be in the passing game, or is he going to be a true traditional running back?
Intended air yards down the field. Who's airing it out? The least this week.
Is Cam?
Bridgewater was first.
Yeah.
Brees was second.
Okay.
Cam was third.
Yeah.
So is that they're just not asking him to? Does he not have the ability to? Or is it a lack of weapons to get down?
Well, I think a little bit of that. I mean, I think it's a little bit of lack of weapons. I think a little bit playing to what they just needed to do to win the football game. And the Raiders are a little bit better. Now, as much as I don't like their front 7, their secondary actually poses some problems. The rookie they got from Ohio State, not bad. The kid they took last year in the second round, Trayvon Mullen from Clemson, I mean, he was locking people up. You got Josh Abrams back at safety. So they have a little talent back there to where I think from what it looked like on TV, and I'll deep dive this game for Wednesday a little bit for what the happened and everything. It looked like they locked the Patriots receivers up a little bit. Just said mano y mano, and that was that. And, of course, the Patriots defenders did that to the Raiders offense as well.
And John Gruden had trouble with his mask again. It was a little kind of like
cockeyed
what was that
and tucked underneath.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it didn't. It didn't look good.
Although I don't know if that's like his thing. Like a basketball coach, if the game's getting out of hand, you take the jacket off. Or like a businessman, if it's a rough day, you loosen the tie.
Well,
like maybe that's his thing where it's like, I got to put the mask kind of
over here. It's like he made it to where it didn't muffle his voice. So it was like, yeah, it's covering my mouth, but it's not like pressed up against his mouth.
It's like the people that put the seatbelt just over their shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
To placate policemen if they're driving by.
Yeah.
Raiders lost, though, for the first time this year. Patriots look pretty good. One more damn okay before we get to our second deep dive of Bills and Rams. And our last damn okay goes to a guy that had, 19 and a half sacks last year?
Shaq Barrett.
Shaq Barrett.
Boom.
As the Buccaneers win 28-10, the Tampa Bay Saccaneers, according to Fuzzy Bubbles here. This game was never pretty much in doubt. The Broncos are going to have trouble this year. I picked them to be a playoff team when the year started. That's not going to happen. I'm already resigned to the fact that's an incorrect pick. Of course, they lost their quarterback, but yeah, defensively, Buccaneers look good, and offensively good enough early on, right?
That's exactly right. And then they got the short field twice, right, off a block punt. You got that one. So do that. Then they get a short field because their defense stops the Denver Bronco offense, and they got the ball at midfield. So they were up 10-0 before Denver could really get situated in the football game. Brady did look good, but they are, I think the point is, and why we're talking about Shaq Barrett, this could be a scary team when they play that way. When they get up in that front four, and you talk about, Vita Vea and, Sue in the middle and Barrett, you're not going to be able to block them if you're in a game that all of a sudden you got to pass the ball on, every play on obvious situations and things like that. So that was big for them. Brady did look good. Again, I'll say, like the first touchdown pass they saw to Chris Godwin, old Patriots play, right? I feel like I'm seeing a lot of Patriots stuff still infused in the offense, which is making Brady comfortable.
Actual Patriots player in Rob Gronkowski who got involved for the first time. 6 catches for him.
So it's a good start, and we'll see where they go from here. Who do the Bucs got next week? You remember?
Great question.
Here, I'll look real quick just so we could talk about it. But I don't look at the offense still and go, oh man, they're awesome. They got it all figured out. But they certainly have found something that's fit us, and they'll have a better test this week because they're going to play the Chargers. Who are going to be pissed off.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I hope that, I don't know if I was for or against the pewter uniforms beforehand. When I watched it on TV, I wasn't totally. It didn't look like Tampa Bay to me. I don't know what team it was.
Well, first off, is it like what? I don't like double dark colors.
What do you mean? Like
they were wearing orange and they were wearing pewter. Like somebody's gonna wear white.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what made it even more confusing.
Didn't we have the color rush, colorblind issue with these type of things like a few years back?
Yeah, maybe.
Where there was no white?
Yeah,
Bills, Jets,
green and the red.
And they were saying colorblind people couldn't tell who was who.
Yeah, it just made you angry. And I agree. It was a little disconcerting because I think the Broncos in orange made it even more confusing.
Maybe it did.
Who's the Bucs here? Which team does Tom Brady play for? Okay, so those are our damn okays. We still got to do our victory lap, self-scout thyself. But let's get into another deep dive here. And this one's Bills and Rams. And we're doing this one because we leave it open to the homies to vote. And I have never seen one more lopsided than this. And so Pete believes, conspiracy theory, that the Bills Mafia out there stuffed the ballot box somehow.
Way to go. That's what the Mafia does.
That's what you want to do, right? If you want to have Chris Sims talk about your game, you got to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
And so we're going deep dive, Rams and Bills. What a good game. Where do you want to start with this one? A victory by the Bills, although it got a lot harder than it looked like it was going to be early on.
Well, let's start with the Bills D versus the Rams O.
Okay.
Because I think that was misleading. I think that'll be the first thing that I would just tell you right away.
What was misleading about it?
Well, the 28-3 lead, and you're thinking, if you're not really paying attention to the game, you're going, oh, they must be kicking the shit out of Sean McVay and Jared Goff in the offense. And that wasn't the case. They never stopped the Rams the whole day. Not one point. The Rams went down the field the whole first half. Missed a field goal, drove down, we're on field goal territory. Goff threw an interception. All right, Bills go on another scoring drive. Rams get the ball back. They go down. They kick a field goal. They were never stopped in the first half. That was never the case. Now, they start the third quarter. You know, the Bills go up 28-3. Do that, but really, I guess the big thing I would say here more than anything is they found their running back. Darrell Henderson looked phenomenal, all right?
Really good.
And I'm just, again, more amazed by Sean McVay and what he does. He just continues to amaze me. And what I found more interesting about this game, first off, I mean, we've talked about the O-line's been a pleasant surprise. Whoa, Darrell Henderson, he hits the hole hard. Goff is doing the right things and making plays for the most part. We know they got some weapons there. But they really exposed Sean McDermott a little bit in his scheme. He really did. And more times than not, what I found out is McVay ran plays to where the run play design, because Buffalo plays so much nickel, they ended up going, oh, nickel guy, you're in the box? Well, here comes the running back, and you're going to be the one that's going to have to, because we're going to block everybody else, and we'll see if you can make the tackle. They left it more times than not through creative run game, blocking and scheme and motions and what McVay does, to where the leading tacklers on the Bills yesterday were Jordan Poyer and Teron Johnson.
Yeah.
First off, if you want to read stats and go, just take something, it's never good when your secondary guys are leading the team in tackling. All right, that tells you that they're getting into the secondary way too much. And Teron Johnson, to him have 11 tackles as the nickel back, that was because McVay so many times got it situated to where, all right, here he is. We'll block the 2 linebackers and the 4D linemen, and we'll have a cutback lane, and it's going to be Teron Johnson versus Darrell Henderson in the hole. Or Teron Johnson in the hole with a receiver kind of blocking him, and he's got to be responsible to attack Darrell Henderson, and that's not going to happen.
And I wondered
that was
too.
the thing.
Yeah, and I wondered too, watching Henderson, because he was hitting the hole fast, and
he looks like Devontae Freeman to me.
You're right.
In his prime.
Next Gen backed that up. He was behind the line of scrimmage for 2.5 seconds on average, which was the third least amount of time. So he's hitting the hole fast. I was wondering if that's more him or if that's more just the way they were designing these plays with Sean McVay.
Well, yeah, I think it's his style. I think he runs this way, and that's why they draft him. Because McVay has that same thought of like a Kyle Shanahan. He wants no-nonsense guys. They want guys where, like, I know what I'm doing in the run game. I'm going to create the hole here. I don't want any pitter-patter or, like, indecisiveness. I want guys going through the hole like their hair's on fire, right? That's what he wants. And I think that's part of, like, who they recruit at the running back. It's part of the thing they sell to the running back. I need you to hit this hole at 100 miles per hour. And he did that. So I think that was the big thing to me. And, you know, McVay's so amazing at creating extra gaps in the run game. You think, oh, I got it all figured out. And then all of a sudden a receiver comes down in motion real late before the snap, and he blocks somebody, and that's another gap. All of a sudden the defense is like, wait, how do I do this? Or his ability to stress the guy on the edge of the running game. Like, if you're a corner, right, and we're going this way, and here you are, you're the corner out there, and all of a sudden, let's just say you're playing cover 2, right, and you got the flat over there.
Okay.
All right. Cover 2, sometimes they let the DN come in, and now you have to set the edge in the run game, right? So you're got to be the guy that, like, I'm not going to let you outside of me. I'm going to make you cut it inside because I got all these guys there to make the tackle, right? Well, what like McVay and Shanahan are so special at is they'll send motion that way. So here they are, blue 85, and here comes that speed sweep motion, right? And now he says set hut. And the motion's going by, and he's running right at this corner. He's running at you, and you're backpedaling because you're like, wait, is he going on a pass, or what am I doing? And then all of a sudden he blocks you, and you're like, oh, shit, wait, I got to set the edge. And it's too late because now he's squared you up, and he's pushed you inside, and all of a sudden Henderson's outside, or he pushed you outside because you're worried about the pass, and you've made a gap gigantic now.
You've set the edge at the sideline.
You set the edge, exactly right. Thank you. So you're getting my point there. And that's where that he really exposed McDermott with some of that stuff to where I'm sure that pissed McDermott off. But that, to me, was really one of the big things of the football game.
Yeah. And you mentioned it, too, the offensive line seems significantly better than what it was last year.
Significantly.
Taking a huge step forward.
And even in pass protection.
Yes.
You know, I'm a little underwhelmed by the Bills' front four from what I've seen in the first 3 games. That's a little concerning to me. I mean, the Bills' defense has not nearly been as dominant as they were last year.
Which we thought they were going to need to be. For them to finally get over the hump of being division champs over the New England Patriots, you're like, all right, The offense is going to have to be better. The defense is going to have to stay elite. Well, so far it's been the offense that's been elite, and the defense has been pretty average.
It definitely has. And sometimes that does happen because now when your offense becomes elite, teams that play you go, wait, their offense is elite, so we have to push the envelope this week against this Bills defense and maybe do things that like we normally wouldn't do, but we have to keep pace with Josh Allen and company.
Yeah.
And that sometimes hurts that way. But no, they're just not showing any moments of dominance. Like I said, even though they were up 28-3, I wrote like, man, Rams third drive, good too. Held to a field goal. I said, not like Bills D is dominating here. Mm-hmm. They're moving the ball up and down the field. But I think McVay got in a rhythm. They started to capitalize. Goff didn't make mistakes. And then they got that interception that was a catch. That one was really weird to me. The one he throws up to, was that Tyler Kroft, right?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Kroft, I mean, he's got the ball in his hands. I mean, he's literally tucking it away.
Right.
And now he's falling to the ground. The guy jumps on and grabs it, and they give him the interception. And it's amazing. Game change right there. It's 28-10. They go right down and score. Then 3 and out by the Bills. They go right down and score again, and it's 28-25. And then Josh Allen gets strip sack fumbled by Aaron Donald, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, they're losing 32-28. I mean, it was like that.
I see what you're doing. You're setting up for those people who are saying that it was not passing. Yeah, you've made up a new word, yeah. Our boss, hearing a new Simsism.
Yes.
Go by, created right in front of him. No, but you're setting up so at the end of the game, when people are saying, oh, it was not pass interference, you're saying, well, how about that interception earlier in the game, right?
Well, I would say, like, the football gods or karma usually even the scales out at some point.
Unless you're the Detroit Lions, it seems like not.
Or you could say maybe they got away, maybe they got lucky on a pass interference call in week 1, and they got unlucky in a pass interference in week 3, right?
Michael Gallup,
right?
That one, or
right? They called it on Jalen Ramsey, right? So
that's right.
Again, and I'll say this too. I mean, we probably should watch that play back, because that's an interesting play. On TV, I thought for sure it was not pass interference. I thought, ooh. When
to be clear, we're talking the end of the game.
End of the game, yes.
Josh Allen
throws
fourth
the slant
down
route to Gabriel Davis, right?
Yep. Wasn't a whole lot of contact.
When I watched on film, though, DBs are getting very good of like, pass interference, pass interference, pass interference. I see the ball being thrown. Oh, my hands are in the air. I didn't touch them. They're all becoming very good at that.
Yeah.
I mean, even Jenkins did that in the Saints game. It's exactly what he did. I'm going to hold you. Oh, wait, the ball's getting close. Look, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so it was a tough call. It really was. I'm not trying to say that, but it was more borderline than I thought, I guess, was what I'm saying on TV.
Okay.
All right. I don't think I have anything more there. I think that we hit it all.
Kind of come over to Josh Allen, your boy.
Yep.
Does it again. I mean, he looks like a top 5 quarterback, right?
He's got top 5 talent. There's no doubt about that. And yes, he's playing at a top 5 level right now. No doubt. No doubt about it. I mean, yeah, if you made me rank the top 5 quarterbacks in the game right now, Mahomes, Lamar, Rodgers, Josh Allen.
Russell Wilson, did you say?
And Russell Wilson. Sorry, that's it. That's probably where the 5 I'd go right now. I'd probably knock out Deshaun Watson right now for the way he's playing. He wouldn't be in my top 5. But, yeah, it's pretty damn special. All right, so you want me to start on this?
Let's do it. Let's go Bills offense.
Yeah.
And I know you love Josh Allen, but let me throw another name at you here.
Please.
Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
13 attempts, 71 yards. Had 4 catches for 50 yards out of the backfield.
Some big ones.
And I feel like you, in the past, have not been that high on Singletary.
No, I have
which
not.
is one of the reasons why you really liked when they drafted
Zach Moss.
Right. But he looked elusive.
He did.
He looked hard to bring down in this game.
I feel like he looks faster this year to me in general, but he was. He's perfect piece for the way they're running their offense right now. He's their James White, or their Deion Lewis when he was on the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
You got all these receivers you're worried about. Oh my gosh, Josh Allen could throw the ball down the field, and then you got to worry about this little jitterbug catching these short passes and making all your linebackers look stupid and everything. So no, there's nothing I can say there. It's been very good. Vision's good. Stops on a dime. He's been playing really well, and it is a great piece for a team that likes to be aggressive. I mean, that's the big thing with the Bills right now. Their offense, it's aggressive. It's at you every play. There's nothing to worry about. And then when you stop them and you go, we called the right defense, we got them. The other part of the story is, now do you have Josh Allen in the back end? Because I saw a lot of plays where you got them coverage downfield, But now he's buying time, and you can't cover forever, and all of a sudden people are open again. So that's where they're amazing right now. I think the big thing I would take away from this more than anything, and I do have respect for this this Rams defense. Rams defense, let's remember this, very young in the secondary. So I think that'll continue to grow. They're playing very simple and sound football right now, which is not necessarily the best way to beat a team that's got great weapons and a system to go along with it. And early on, with the mistakes the Rams made and just Josh Allen, there was nothing they could do to stop him. I don't even know where to begin there. Whether it was scrambles, the system, all of it was special on the offensive side of the ball.
Jalen Ramsey got beat by Stephon Diggs on that 28-3 touchdown.
Definitely, and I think that's the next place I'd want to go. Jalen Ramsey, they played some man, but I do come away from the game going, you got to put more pressure on Jalen Ramsey. You've got to put more. He's got to match up with some of these people a little bit more. It's just too much to be paying a corner to be dropping into zones and, we're going to put a safety over the top of you. I mean, listen, he will have moments of locking people down, and he does.
Well, maybe they're worried he can't.
All I'm saying, he should just do it more. They should do it more.
Well, maybe they saw Stephon Diggs and were like, I don't know that he can.
Listen, you saw that play. That was a tough play. You're not going to always cover. Stephon Diggs is one of the best receivers in the game.
Yep.
And it wasn't like he was burned. He was right there. And Diggs got, Allen had a little time. Diggs ran up to the back left pylon, turned out, and then came back in.
It's like a basketball.
Right.
Move.
I mean, it was a basketball. I mean, he literally got to go up there and, turn his shoulders and hop his feet and then go in. So that was a tough spot. They put him in a tough spot there. But I do think that he needed to do more there. And, the thing that makes them so dangerous right now, of course, it's the Josh Allen show. Big pass plays. He extends plays. They're running options. It's 3rd and 1. He's running option down this for a touchdown one time, and earlier in the drive was a 3rd and 1. The quarterback draws, the offense is built around his skill set. And that's where it's amazing, let alone the scheme itself calls plays that put the pressure on the defense too. So there you got an aggressive drop back pass game. Then you saw Devin Singletary in the screen game. Then they have the boots. Then they have traditional runs. And, also you got to contain Josh Allen from scrambling and extending plays. That's really tough to stop right now with this team, the way they pass protect and everything like it.
In defense of Jalen Ramsey, who we did call Josh Allen trash 2 off seasons ago, but then came back and said he was talented now, right? Right. Faced 5 targets, allowed just 2 catches, 5 yards, but the 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns allowed all of last season. So, it wasn't like he was getting crushed a lot, just a couple in crucial spots. For him there. And
I'm trying to even think, what was the second touchdown? Yeah, because we had Diggs, and, which one are they
it had to be at the goal line because it was just 2 catches for 5 yards.
I know, that's where I'm trying to, so was it the first touchdown? I don't know if that's necessarily him there. That's where I'd have to go back and look at that play. But the point is still, he's a really good freaking football player.
Right.
I like what the Rams do on the defensive side of the ball. They are young. I think it'll probably continue to grow that way as far as just schematics and being a little more tricky. But, that was an unbelievable play. And just to the last drive. Again, Rams got the momentum, everything like that. You got 3rd and 22.
3rd and 22.
You got the play covered up. And he scrambles to the right and throws a laser down the middle to Cole Beasley. Has that play.
And then you end it with a touch-pass touchdown.
Right.
That's the difference with Josh Allen this year than we've seen in previous
years. A lot of touch passes that are very impressive. And I think even on that drive, he had another little fade to Stephon Diggs that was very impressive. So, he is at the top of his game. Their offense is dangerous. I'm a little concerned about their defense, but nonetheless, they're 3-0.
2 teams that you would not be surprised if they were playing in a Super Bowl.
I would not. I don't know. It's not my number one
You're not betting
pick.
on it.
No, but it's not crazy. The Bills, I think, are clearly the number 3 team in the AFC for me right now, right? I'm going to put Baltimore and the Chiefs as 1 and 2.
Okay.
And I'm saying the Bills are 3 with just a little nudge above the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, the way that looks. And then you go into the NFC. I just think where I look at it,
NFC West, by the way,
is insane.
Clearly, I think the best division in football, right?
It seems It does
division.
seem like it.
You have 4 teams that, Arizona, who knows how strong they're going to be, but if they're the worst team in the division, That's a great division.
Yeah, no. Okay, so the NFC right now, what would you get? Green Bay and Seattle deserve to have been the top 2 seeds right now, right? I mean, that would be the top 2 teams for you. Now, who's the third team in the NFC right now? You're going to go with the Bears at 3-0,
No.
the Niners at 2-1, the Rams at 2-1?
I like the Rams.
I think they're in that conversation. I feel better about them than I do the Bucks at 2-1 and the Bears at 3-0. And Arizona at 2-1 right now. You're right. I think the Rams, when they're healthy and everything, like they're healthy right now, yes, I'm with you.
These could be the 2 third-best teams in their conference.
Yeah.
Just faced off and played a great game, and it was fun to watch, and so that is our deep dive. Anything else, Chris? Is there any? We do have the elevator music, Kristen, if you want to play it.
Nope, I'm all good here. I'm all good, all good.
All right, okay. We don't need it. We're going to move on now, and it's time to look at a team that crushed it, that didn't start out the season so great, and a player that excelled. It is time to take it up to 100, presented by Head & Shoulders, and this player took it up to 100 and then past 100. Nick Chubb for the Browns. They beat the football team 34-20. 19 rushes, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns for a running back who you have said might be the best in the NFL.
He's definitely top 3. I mean, I know that. Like, whenever I do my top 5 running backs, Nick Chubb will be in the top 3, excuse me. I mean, again, there's really nothing in his game that he doesn't have. And it's easy to get, infatuated with Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and our tight ends, and we're going to throw the ball and do all that. No. The best thing on the offense is Nick Chubb. And then the offensive line. And I just hope Kevin Stefanski can stay with that. But once you see, they're a better football team for the second week in a row when they play through Nick Chubb and the run game. Their defense is a work in progress, so that gives them a little leeway. The passing game, offense, and everything, I still think they're trying to get their feet underneath them with that. The one thing they don't need is they have an offensive line that can move people and they can open up holes. And then Chubb, not only can he expose those holes and make the most of them, but when there isn't a lot there to have, like what was it? Was it the first touchdown run where he ran to the right side and stopped and cut back and then broke an arm tackle and then outran somebody and broke another tackle into the end zone? I mean, he truly is, like, to me, if I was going to start a team with Nick Chubb would be the guy I'd want to be my running back. That to me is the guy I want. I love his style.
It's the first time in 10 years that the Browns have scored 30 points in back-to-back weeks. I think I heard that on the broadcast. And so here's a question from Graham Bailey.
Right.
Was Kevin Stefanski bigger for Minnesota than anyone thought or gave him credit for? Love the show, and especially the pod. Thank you, Graham Bailey. So what do you think, Kevin Stefanski? You've been a little down on his offense. And,
yes,
but one thing he has been able to do in Minnesota and now in Cleveland is utilize spectacular, talented running backs and Dalvin Cook and now Nick Chubb.
Yeah, no, I think, though, like what our buddy there is asking is true. Yeah, do I love Kevin Stefanski's offense? No. Does it have all the staples you need to be successful? Yes. I wish there were a little bit more pass game creativity and things like that. But, yeah, we're definitely seeing that Minnesota is lacking in some of Kevin Stefanski's ideas and things like that. So that's where I'm excited about it. I am. And, the thing I was always a little excited about, just going back to the spring, even though I questioned Stefanski, was he worthy of being hired as a head coach because of his offensive genius, prowess and all of those type of things. The one thing I did like was I just thought, the way he does play, it could fit this Browns football team in the way they're built right now, just as far as scheme and personnel. And I think with both of these wins, we've seen that they just kind of stay within his realm. Run the football, few different run game designs, the bootlegs, and do that. Baker Mayfield will make a few plays in the pass game, and they're going to be a more effective team, and that's what they were yesterday. It was cool to watch, let alone Washington is offensively challenged, as you know. That's a big issue for the Washington football team.
Going to be a long year for the football team there.
Bad interceptions.
That was Take It Up to 100, presented by Head & Shoulders, available at Walmart.
Take it up to 100.
Hundo. I feel like we delivered a good sponsored segment right there. I always feel like
you delivered. I don't know if I did.
We want to bring our A game when we have our Head & Shoulders on the line, and we did it right there. Time for a victory lap. Here it is, and you called it. You called it. Lions defeat the Cardinals 26-21. 23 at New NFL Fan said, Chris, I can't lie. I thought you were crazy for choosing the Detroit Lions as your best bet, but hats off to you, man.
Thanks,
you made it a best bet.
I made it a best bet.
You were so confident in the Lions going to Arizona.
I thought they were 5.5-point underdogs, and I really thought they would win the football game. You know, again, the NFL, the Lions are not as good a football team as the Arizona Cardinals. They're not. But it's a game of matchups, and sometimes you can be the lesser team on a grand scale, but match up with a team in one specific matchup and be the better team in that matchup that gives them problems because of the way your scheme is and the way your team's built. And the big reason that I jumped on that, one, desperation's always a part of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shit, you're going to get fired. I might not be the quarterback in this city and have to move my family. We better win some football games. That's real in the NFL locker room. Plus, you have another team that's, you know, oh, we're young and we're 2-0 and we're feeling good about ourselves for the first time, right? So I did play that psychological element.
So where was the element of the game, though, that you felt was the best matchup for the Lions?
Thank you. Yeah, is a lot of DBs, and Patricia's not going to sit back and play zone defenses and let Kyler Murray throw quick passes and get out of his hands and manipulate my zones by extending plays, right? So I knew Patricia was going to be playing some man, some creative man coverages too, to make Murray throw into some tight windows. And I got lucky there because he threw 3 picks, right?
3 picks.
Right. And then the other thing is, you know, I know there's always this talk about, oh, you know, Belichick's had issues with mobile quarterbacks. He hasn't had many issues the last few years with any mobile quarterbacks. I mean, you know, Mahomes' first 2 starts against New England, he couldn't scramble or do anything like that. They're pretty well schooled up on that because they were burned on it earlier in the Belichick era to where people stay with that theme. But Patricia and Belichick together did a pretty damn good job anytime they played mobile quarterbacks. And I just thought because of that, the way he coaches them, guys like Jamie Collins and Jared Davis who can run, and then he's not going to let his pass rushers just fly upfield, I thought they might contain you know, Kyler Murray more than other teams.
They did. 5 carries for Kyler Murray, 29 yards. Did have a nice rushing touchdown where he got to the edge and dove in. That was fun.
That was insane.
That was, as a Lions fan, that was fun to watch. Yeah. Although Okudah did get a pick.
Got his pick. Good for him.
Got a pick in the game, so that was huge. There was a moment in the game, too. Cardinals had the ball at the 50, 4 minutes left, tie game. That's almost a situation where it feels like 11 times out of 10 the Lions are going to give up points there. They didn't. They got a key stop. And then they went down the field, and the Lions, the one thing they've had over the past 40 years is a good kicker. Like Matt Prater is so solid for them. Before that, it was Jason Hanson. Before that, it was Eddie Murray. Remember him back in the day?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
For as bad as the Lions have been as a franchise, they've been elite at kicking.
Got Galladay back yesterday. He gets a touchdown pass. That was big. I mean, they got a nice little cast of weapons if they could stay healthy.
They gave the ball to Adrian Peterson 22 times in the game.
Hey, you want to slow down that offense, and Kyler Murray keep his butt on the sideline. That's what they did. They won the time of possession battle too.
So that was your victory lap. But with the good, you got to have the bad.
Oh,
so
great.
We go to Self-Scout Thyself. And this is not the segment where we say where you got something wrong.
Yeah.
We're just saying here are instances where maybe we should reevaluate.
Sure.
Perhaps you were still right.
I hope that you picked the right instances because I'm coming back with the fire right now.
I'm not saying you were wrong, but we're just going to reassess.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to take a look at new evidence that came in, and maybe we need to reassess.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe we need to reassess, and you've already done it in this podcast on Deshaun Watson, who you've brought out of your top 5. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, but he's not playing as well as we know he can play up to this point. Steelers beat the Texans 28-21. You did say the Texans perhaps could have a better offense without DeAndre Hopkins. So far, 3 games in, it has not looked like that.
I'm wrong there. 100% wrong. I told Tony Dungy last night while the games were going on, I throw in the white towel. You're right. DeAndre Hopkins is better than the committee approach. They should have never traded him. I think, first off, we're still seeing the same. I mean, the Houston Texans, we know the defense isn't very good. We've known that all along. I still think there's too much pressure on Deshaun Watson to make plays all the time. I mean, it's just always on him. And in the first half, I know they scored, 21 points. But it wasn't anything where I was like, it was 21 points because Watson was buying time, and then he was manipulating the Steelers' zone, and then he would make the great throw. It wasn't like I was like, oh, Billy O'Brien and the offense, they got the Steelers' defense. They've cracked the code. They're screwed today. Right. No. And again, I don't know what the Steelers did to change it up a little in the second half, and that's where, I'll get into what the happened on Wednesday to see that. But I think my big take would be this right now. With the wide receiver committee approach, right, that Bill O'Brien, the offense just isn't vast enough. It's not deep enough with plays and things like that to take advantage of the committee like a New England could or like the Saints could in their prime or other great offenses that way. It is a little bit, seems like they need a guy to kind of get everybody else going. It's not one of those where it's just like, hey, the system's so good, just throw to the open guy. No, it's kind of playing out right now that Billy O'Brien was better when he had the one guy, and he came up with a bunch of different ways to get him the ball, and that helped maybe disperse the ball around to other guys. So that's an issue. We're seeing the pass protection issues again once in Texans.
Yeah, what's going on with that? Because Deshaun Watson, he takes a lot of sacks. Not all of them are his fault. Like if their receiver's not open, then there's receivers aren't open. But it doesn't seem like he has such great elusiveness.
Yeah.
But it seems like sometimes when he's pressured, it just his instincts on where to go are not great.
Yeah. I know. Sometimes he boxes himself into a corner, or
it's like you're so much faster than everyone else. Seems like you could find a way out of here.
I don't know, and I'll be interested to see what the Steelers did on the defensive side of the ball. But then again, when you play a team like the Steelers and they start to make you one-dimensional like that, and then you can't run the football ever to make them think about that, that's tough sledding against that football team. And then your defense can't get off the field. That's another issue. So, now the defense can't get off the issue. We got to throw it more with Deshaun because we got to make up for time. We got to get him down there and score. So it all goes downhill. Shit rolls downhill. And unfortunately, it ends up rolling into the lap of Deshaun Watson where they're always like, hey, there's shit on your lap. Can you clean it all up for us now and make it smell good? And
because there were positives, right? There was that touchdown to Cobb that was a great throw from Watson. They responded to that blown coverage on Juju.
Yep.
Going right down the field and the fade to Fuller. And so it's like there were some great moments, but then he had the bad interception.
That changed the game, right?
Yeah, thrown across his body.
Gets boxed down into there, the right sideline, throws it across his body, and the Steelers really kind of never relinquished the momentum of the football game.
They took it down the field, and Connor scored, and the game was over.
Right.
Okay, so we have another self-scout thyself.
Yeah.
This one comes from Wilson DA10. You seem to rate Adam Gase higher than most preseason. Granted, it was a low bar.
Yeah.
How much of the Jets' issues this season are his fault? So are we going to reassess the Jets here? They lost 36-7 to the Colts, and I'm going to full disclosure. Full disclosure.
Right.
I didn't see really any of this game.
Well,
and I was going to go back and look at the highlights, and I didn't even do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, there's not much to see. It was a steamroll session.
Yeah.
It really was. I am more high on Adam Gase than most. That's a fair assessment. And
because the roster, you look.
Well, thank you. That's where there's a lot into this. Okay. Do I wish Adam Gase and that offense looked a little bit better? Do I wish they'd just throw the kitchen sink out there and just go, hey, the hell with? I honestly think right now with Adam Gase and the Jets, that's what he has to do, or he's going to get fired. That would be my advice to him. Throw the kitchen sink out. You got to do everything on offense. Who cares? If you lost by 20 and your offense had 500 yards, people would be able to swallow it a little bit better. I always use the old example of Shanahan his first 2 years in San Francisco. Yeah, they were losing, but how many games were close? You were living out there at the time.
Yeah.
How many games were close, or how many games did you walk away and go, damn, our offense is fun to watch, though. Yeah. That was a fun game. That bought Kyle some time because, hey, I'm an offensive coach, and look, our offense is fun. And, we got
the 6-year contract didn't hurt.
That didn't hurt either. That definitely allowed some cushion there.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's frustrating Jets fans is there's no silver lining or anything to look at. And that's tough. And it's tough on Adam Gase for two reasons. One, like you said, the roster sucks. The roster sucks. All right? It's the worst roster in football. They were handed shit. He took over shit. They're trying to figure it out. But as I said on the show this morning, last week they featured Chris Hogan in the pass game. That was their number one guy. Chris Hogan. From my hometown, love him to death. Baller supreme, wish I had a career like his. This point of his career, he should be the focal point number one receiver for no one.
Yeah.
He's a great second, third receiver type of guy. Yesterday, Braxton Berrios had to be the go-to guy. Who do you think the Jets are scaring with that attack? And then what?
Themselves.
And then what? An old running back and yeah. And then added to this. When again, you don't have great talent there, and then your defense is solid, but nothing special either.
Right.
You start to manage the game as an offensive play caller because you're going, if I'm not careful here, this game will be 40-0 before the second quarter's over.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
you're not trying to win anymore. You're trying not to be embarrassed.
Exactly. I think that's a little bit where they're stuck in between right now.
Yeah.
And that, almost is like a double-edged sword because it just makes it look even worse.
So Jets lose again. They're going to be featured in my Trevor Top Pick Power Rankings here in a second. Last self-scout thyself was not you.
Yeah.
It was Stephen Gostkowski scouting thyself, himself, because he had a bad week 1, missed an extra point, some field goals, missed an extra point in week 2 for the Tennessee Titans here. Week 3, he took off his sock.
Oh.
He had practiced that way all offseason, and so he's like, I'm going to remove my sock. He goes 6 for 6, 3 of them for 50 yards. First kicker to make 3 50-yard plus field goals in a game since Justin Tucker in 2016.
It's amazing.
He goes through. It's a huge win for the Titans to come back and beat the Vikings by 1. And I looked up last year. Do you remember this last year, how many field goals the Titans made in the regular season? Do you remember that?
Well, it was an issue for them last year, right? I mean, they were missing them left and right for a while.
Less than 50%.
Yeah. What was it?
They made 8.
The whole year?
8.
Holy shit.
All of last year.
That's amazing.
And they made 6 in this one game, and they needed every single one of them to beat the Vikings. It would have been not a great loss for them because the Vikings haven't looked good. What do you think of the Titans in this game?
The Titans are one of the harder teams to figure out right now. I mean, I know they're 3-0, and that's a good thing because you can go, hey, we're 3-0, and we really haven't played real good football yet. Mm-hmm. Some certainly mistakes yesterday. I mean, the first one I go to is just the pick 6 with Jadeveon Clowney doing the block back, right? That was a chance where they had the game right there where you're going, oh, Tennessee's about to take control. Watch out here. And that happens, and I believe Minnesota went down and ended up scoring points on that drive. But the thing that I think bothers me, I mean, 2 weeks in a row, too, just a lot of big plays given up by the Titans defense. I think that's what scares me more than anything. Mm-hmm. And a little what we saw yesterday, again, I like Tannehill, and Derrick Henry, definitely one of the 3 best running backs in the game. But if you can get them to third down, that's one part of their team I'm not sold on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not sold on the just the overall third down drop back pass playbook. They're really good when it's first and second down and we can run and we can play action, we can boost and we can throw screens. They're very good that way. And that's when you really
throw.
Yeah, but when they get stuck in that 3rd and 6 or more range, that's not their bread and butter. And they got to continue to work on that. But I'm more concerned about their defense and the big plays they've been leaving up.
I thought that some of those big plays were just individual efforts by a couple of players. Justin Jefferson, we don't want to compare him to Stephon Diggs. I think that's unfair. He looked a lot like Stephon. Like some of the things he did in that game, able to run the short routes, precision, then break that long one.
That's what I mean. That's why he was my number 2 receiver.
Yes.
He can do it all. I mean, he like you said, he can be like the nuanced route runner that works in the middle of the field, but that, that's what you saw at LSU. You also go, well, you play him man-to-man, he will run by you for a 70-yard touchdown, too. It's very unique to have that type of skill set. It's good to see them finally get him involved.
And let me say, I know you just heaped the praise on Nick Chubb for being perhaps the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
Watching Dalvin Cook last game, like
rocket
acceleration, 100%. Like he reminded me of a Jamal Charles, but a more physical Jamal.
Yeah, he is.
Like that fast.
Right.
So, like, when he's 100% healthy and what he was doing on the field, I was like, from my eyes, I was like, that's the best running back in football.
Well, okay, but you've also said it about Alvin Kamara in this podcast.
No.
I didn't know. You said he might be or whatever.
No, I said he is the most important player.
But no, team. I really will. Okay, I mean, he is the most important player on their team. That's exactly right. It's the only reason they had success throwing the ball to me, at least is what I saw on TV yesterday. Yeah. If they can run the ball, they can throw the ball. If they can't run the ball, they can't throw the ball. Yesterday, they can run the ball. Mm-hmm. They, just a little crack of daylight for that guy with 2 rockets up his ass. See it.
The way Dalvin Cook looked yesterday, I would take him number 1. I would take him over any running back in football.
But this is why I know we got to do this at some point, and we've been talking about this. But this is why it's scary, because there's legitimately 10 top 5 running backs.
Yeah.
It's I've said McCaffrey, Chubb, Henry. And today we've talked about Cook and Kamara.
Yeah.
And you go, that's a top 5. But there's other guys out here. And
Aaron Jones.
Where I just think we're going to sit there and go, damn, I don't know which one to to choose there. But
I don't know, yeah.
You know, Josh Jacobs is in that conversation. Aaron Jones is in that conversation. I mean, Zeke Elliott. I mean, he deserves to be in that conversation. Okay, maybe it ends right around there. It might not be 10.
Maybe it won't be as good of a segment as we were just thinking. All right, it's time to put on your newspaper hat here.
Okay,
right?
let's do it.
Your newspaper headline writer. Time for Give Me the Headlines presented by Hyundai. We got 2 games here, Chris.
Yep.
Our first one is Bengals-Eagles 23-23. We had a tie, our first tie of the year, right?
You play to win the game.
And if you can't,
you play to win the game. But that's my headline because I'm not sure if anybody was playing to win that game yesterday. I mean, really, that was a torturous game to be watching out of the corner of my eye, certainly. All right, the first thing that I'm going to say, I'm going to go on to Carson Wentz. I know he's the lightning rod topic. I know that Carson Wentz, yes, makes mistakes. As we just talked about a little bit with the Jets and other teams, there's more issues on that football team than Carson Wentz. But if I'm going to blame Carson Wentz, the one area I'm going to hit him on is he's got to learn to manage a football game and realize the totality of the game and what is going on. And realize, like, hey, you know, yeah, things aren't easy for us today, but this team, they're not great on offense either. I'm going to be really conservative until I get a real good feel for the game or whatever that may be. And that just never goes on with him. It's like what I used to talk about with Deshaun Watson. It's always the last play of the game. It's every play is last play of the game. Fanatic, is he going to break a tackle? Is he going to fit that throw in there? Is he going to be able to make this throw on the run awkwardly like that? It's just too much. And, of course, they do nothing to help him. And, then, of course, the talent around him is very average. And then you have another guy, this is where it's crazy, Joe Burrow, who understands totally how to manage a game and knows exactly the type of game he is in and when to push the envelope and when not to. And, of course, he's got issues, too, because they can't pass protect for damn. They're not that good at running. He's getting hit way too much. But nonetheless, as you see yesterday, he's tough. He knows where to go with the football. He's clutch. And it's just amazing that there's a tie football game there.
Joe Burrow, there were a couple numbers on Joe Burrow here that I thought were interesting from Next Gen. They see how many times a quarterback throws into a tight window.
Yeah.
A receiver who's covered by a yard.
It's got to be
or
up
less.
there, right? I mean, he's got to be up there with anybody in
football. He threw into
football.
a tight window 22% of the time this week.
Right.
Second most in the league to Daniel Jones, who had the most. The difference was Daniel Jones had a quarterback rating of 56. Joe Burrow had a quarterback rating of 105.
Yeah.
So he not only threw into the tight windows a lot, but he did it effectively.
Right.
And he had an expected completion percentage of 10 points higher, or 10 points lower than his actual completion percentage. So he outperformed
what he was supposed to
do there too. So Joe Burrow's passed the sniff test early on this year, and Carson Wentz has not, unfortunately.
No.
It turns around.
Yeah, that's the simple case of an Eagles, the quarterback Wentz, who's a really good, talented football player.
Maybe better as a runner in this game than a quarterback.
Yeah, he was, definitely.
A thrower.
I mean, definitely. But a really good, talented quarterback who has no talent around him, not a big-time, awesome scheme, and he's trying to do too much. And it's really not helping them out. It's hurting them. Now, he's tough as hell, as you could see. I mean, again, the run, the touchdown run, and playing. I mean, there's a lot of things to love about Carson Wentz, but he needs to figure out how to rein it in a little bit and get a better feel for the game. And then the Eagles offense. Listen, all you need to know is they ran 86 plays for 381 yards. I mean, that's embarrassing. 86 plays for 381 yards? Holy crap. I mean, talk about like 2 yards in a cloud of dust or whatever. I know that's 4 yards in a cloud of dust, but in 2020, 4 yards is the new 2 yards, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not acceptable.
All right, not acceptable for the Eagles, although they do get half a win. They get a tie with the Bengals. Panthers defeat the Chargers. Sans Christian McCaffrey. They figure out a way to do it. 21-16. Give me the headline.
Well, I was going to say, who needs Christian McCaffrey? That was going to be my headline. But I say that jokingly, of course, because I know how awesome Christian McCaffrey is.
Yeah.
But I say it more in the fact, too, that, one, the Panthers' offense, pretty impressive early on in this game. The Chargers, who shut down the Chiefs last week. And then here was Teddy Bridgewater in this offense kind of picking them apart, right? And what did we talk about? The short passing game, right? That's what you have to have. Last week when we talked about, well, the Chiefs can't do anything. They need to grow their short passing game. Well, Carolina, Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, Teddy Bridgewater, that New Orleans background there. Well, we know they know how to throw the short and expose those type of zones and things like that. But the big thing is, I think what I say, like, who needs McCaffrey? I say that jokingly just because there's more talent on this offense than I think anybody realizes. We've DJ Moore at receiver, Robbie Anderson. Hey, Davis is a great little compliment back who not only caught the ball, ran the ball good. Curtis Samuel, who we've talked about a little bit. So it was a little bit more offense by committee, but still totally capable of getting it done. Bridgewater played pretty clean. And, Justin Herbert on the other side played good once again, but made a few rookie mistakes too.
Yeah, threw the ball 19 times to Keenan Allen, did Justin Herbert. 13 catches, 132 yards. So they're out to try to prove you wrong about you.
How close was that last play? Did you see the last play? They ran the old hook and ladder on the last play.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yes.
I mean, he's going to score.
Which, it reminded me, thank you for bringing that up. Remember I called this a while ago, and this doesn't help it? The whole lateral offense.
Oh, that's right.
Because I was covering a lot of rugby sevens, and that's the whole thing is laterals.
Right.
But, it pissed me off.
If it worked, you'd really be on a pedestal
I would have been like, okay, now
See,
teams are going to see. But I'm telling you, if you practice that more, there's an opportunity here that some smart team is going to utilize, and not just in an end-of-game Hail Mary situation. I'm telling you,
no.
It's coming at some point.
I wouldn't be surprised. That was almost perfectly executed. And I think, who was that? Keenan Allen who made the toss to...
Was that, yeah.
Oh, if he could just got it out of his hand a little cleaner, I mean, he's going to walk in.
What could have been. That was to give me the headlines presented by Hyundai. Congratulations, Chris. Well done.
Thank you.
Let's end our podcast with the Trevor Lawrence top pick power rankings. Not a whole lot of movement this week.
No, I guess.
We just had one team fall out.
All right.
We had the Falcons, who were 5th last week. They fell out. I know they did lose, but here's the problem. They're getting too many leads. And if you want to be in the top 5 here, you can't be leading every game.
They're
right?
showing like they might win a game here at some point.
Exactly. And I know there are a couple of teams in here who actually won a game, but the Falcons have been leading too many, so they dropped out. I moved the Vikings from 4th to 5th.
Okay.
They showed a little bit too much against a strong Tennessee team. They probably should have won that game, so I moved them back 1. I moved the Panthers back 1 because of what you just said.
Right.
Got some weapons on offense here.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
Right.
The fact that they win without Christian McCaffrey, that's a blown opportunity.
Yeah. Are you
them.
trying to tank for Trevor? What
that
are
was
they
bad.
Doing?
Number 3, the Lions. Push them back, which I really did think there was no way the Lions and Jets were going to be bumped out of the top 2. I thought those are my top 2 from now until the end of the year. They go into Arizona. They get the win. Disappointing. So a new top 2. The Giants have entered the chat. They have made it into the top 2 of the Trevor Lawrence power rankings. Pete has got to be happy about this. But that was, of all the performances this week, of all the teams that I consider for this, that was the best one. Because it showed that they have nothing. At least they had nothing in week 3. And so that was like, I'm at ease knowing that they're going to be in here for a while.
Okay.
Like there wasn't anything that I'm like, okay, this could start clicking.
Yeah,
now.
no, you're right. There's not much to latch on to.
I'm at ease, but still not as at ease as I am with the team that also plays in that stadium, the New York Jets. They remain a strong number 1.
Yeah.
And not to say they're going to take Trevor Lawrence, but they could. But I will say this. We did see the Cardinals, they took Josh Rosen, then they go, okay, we'll take Kyler Murray, and then we'll figure it out with Josh Rosen. I mean, there is a chance that even if you think, like, we don't think Sam Darnold's not good, we think he's actually pretty good, but maybe he'll just be good for some other team that wants to give us a second-round pick for him. I mean, that could happen as well.
Well, Trevor has gotten to the point as a college football player, and from what we've seen, and then the media public frenzy around, I mean, we're talking about tanking for Trevor here in week 3 of the NFL season. That just explains it all. That I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think that's a little crazy, but it's like not totally crazy. First off, I think there's people here in the New York area that are questioning Sam Darnold. I would say to that, don't do that. It's not Daniel Jones or Darnold's fault. But I also will say to you, like what you're saying, you get a new head coach in here. Because, like, Joe Douglas ain't going anywhere, right? He's got a 6-year contract, so he's there as the GM. But let's say Adam Gase gets fired. New guy comes in. Him and Joe Douglas start to evaluate, and they just go, man, like, we got the same, like you're saying, same feeling Trevor Lawrence that I had with a Kyler Murray or, Patrick. Like, this guy doesn't come around this often.
We can get Trevor Lawrence, and we can get a second-round pick.
Maybe or a trade for him. Like, I know. Listen, I don't think it's totally crazy what you're saying. I don't think it's totally realistic, but I hear what you're saying. And Lawrence is that talented. And like I said to you last week or the week before, he's clearly the number one quarterback. Not even close.
And we'll end it with this from Robert07X. Chris, you were excellent on Sunday Night Football.
Thank you, Robert07X.
Right there. Isn't it great that the Giants could win next week and be tied for first?
Amazing.
They're still in it.
Amazing.
If they do that, they're dropping out of my ring.
The old NFC least. Oh, I would love that. The Giants win the NFC East and are
at 6-10.
At 6-10 are in the tanking for Trevor Ahmed Fareed power rankings.
They get a top 10 pick and win their division. How great would that be?
Yeah, poor Giants though. In all seriousness, like that, here's a little the same story. I mean, what can you expect from Daniel Jones? I mean, there's just not a lot of help. They can't run the ball. He's the team's leading rusher.
Yeah.
It's not like you're sitting there watching the game either and going, "Oh, there's people wide open and he's missing throws." I mean, like you said, he had the tightest windows to throw in all week.
Correct. He was throwing into the tightest windows.
And they're not like a short passing game team like Joe Burrow and the Bengals are.
Yeah,
so
not
they're
a whole lot of
him,
separation.
They're asking him to make 10 and 15-yard throws in those tight windows, which can lead to a bad interception like we saw with Fred Warner.
All right.
We did it. Who do you like tonight? Who you doing? Chiefs, Ravens?
I like the Ravens.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's in Baltimore. Who gives a shit? There's no fans.
That's true. That's true. I like the Ravens.
I do too. 34-27 I'm going with. So, but that's going to be a fun one. You the man. Nice blue shirt today. Way to go.
And look at that.
Fans. Woo,
baby. You're going to call it out.
I think that's why you're wearing the white V-neck now, though.
Sometimes it hurts, though, because sometimes it adds too much.
Too many layers in there.
But it helped today.
All right. Well, Chris Sims, Ahmed Fareed, we'll continue to work on our sweaty pit syndrome and changing up our shirts as best we can. You the man. Seriously, good pod today. All right. It's time. Clap it up. Peace out, homies. We'll see you Wednesday for What the Happened. Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Sims Unbuttoned Podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.